It's the Putemup podcast with your host, Frank Mordejon.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eye.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Putemup podcast, episode number 9. We're in 2022. And listen, we got a good show for you today, man. We got a great show for you today. We have one of the leaders in the promotion here in the state of Florida with the amateur MMA. Hopefully see them soon in pro MMA. But we're going to have a lot of discussion about the business side of it, how they've went through their ups and downs in order to make this successful company happen. But I can't do this by myself. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to introduce you to my co-host, Mr. Patrick Regalado.
What's up?
What's going on?
What's up, Mr. Frank?
Hey, man, chillin', man. Listen, I'm excited about today's show.
I think we had a great show today.
I think we're going to have a good show, man. We're going to talk about, the business side, like always. Again, we're putting people on this show who are literally the people who make MMA in Florida. That's why they're here, because they have a chapter in that book. When you look at the book of Florida MMA, they have a chapter of themselves. So
absolutely, and the people that we have on today are exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hold the show up.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get right to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the studio today, we've got from 305 Fights, where champions rise, Elio and Ewa Torrago.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Give it up.
Thank you so much for being here.
Excellent. I'll do the Spanish version. 305, donde surgen los campeones.
There you go.
You know, I always see
Spanglish.
that. I always see that when
Spanglish.
we're on social media, and I'm gonna flip, to the next screen,
yeah.
but I forget the Spanish, so I'm like, let me go back and get the Spanish
You got to
version.
get the Spanish version of it.
He always does that. It's terrific.
Guys, thank you for showing up today. Thank you for granting me the access to this interview. I am going to learn so much from this, and hopefully our viewers out there can learn as well from a promotional point of view, from a fan point of view. But before we get into all that, introduce yourself. Tell me a little about yourself and what style of martial arts do you teach, what you've learned, and take it from there.
Okay, first of all and foremost, thank you so much for having us in the show. Beautiful studio. You guys are doing a great job, and I'll talk about why I think you guys do. I see Mr. Rego everywhere, and I finally get to meet him in person.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Mordejon, we've known each other for years, and we're like family.
Amen.
Thank you so much for helping us, helping the community like you have. I think part of what we need and part of the reason I'm here is to educate myself more about combat sports, martial arts, entertainment, to become a better professional. And so I'm here to learn, and I think that's education and communication that you're doing is one of the keys that we'll talk about later. Is important. My name's Elio Torrago, Shen Torrago. This is Ewa Torrago, my assistant, my partner. We at 305 Fights. I started martial arts when I was 9 years old with my twin brother, Steven Torrago, Master T. Shout out to him. I come from a martial arts family. My father was a martial artist, and got into the passion of martial arts. My partner, she decided to convince me to open up a school. We opened, I was 9, I'm 57 years old now, so I've been in the martial arts for over 40 years. We started a martial arts school over 35 years ago. From going to the martial arts to martial arts school, we got into tournaments and promotions. One of my martial arts brothers, Scott Ashley, kickboxing world champion, martial artist, we used to put up the ring, sell tickets, and fight on the card.
Wow.
Everything back then, the same thing we're doing now back then, but back then they didn't have MMA as they have it now.
Right.
So it was either boxing or kickboxing or wrestling.
Yeah.
She convinced me to do the school. From the school, she said, what a better way to promote martial arts, combat sports, entertainment than the biggest topic or forum or medium out now, which is mixed martial arts. It's become the top in the world.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to use the medium of mixed martial arts, combat sports in general, to promote, for me personally, the fundamentals, the principles, the philosophies of martial arts, all the benefits of martial arts, health, emotional health, physical health, self-defense. Use it that, and then when we got in, we dived into the realm you guys know and you know very well is the business aspect of combat sports.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm here because there's so much about the business. When we have now the fighters that they come and talk to us, I always tell them, do your homework, find out about the business. The whole business is from matchmaking to sanctioning to setting up the cage to advertising to promotion. There's a whole world out there that if you want to do it, you got to get involved. It's not just kicking and punching anymore.
Yeah. We're going to talk about, we're going to actually dissect your company, everything from the name to the logo to how many fights to why the venues to the setup of it. And I had the honor and the privilege to be at your first show.
Yes.
When you did your first show. So I had first-hand knowledge of how you ran your MMA show. Now I don't know if you've been following us lately on Facebook or our last episode where we had some controversy from other promotions, actually another promoter, right? And there were some things said on that promoter's part that we gave him the opportunity to speak. We gave him the opportunity to clear the name. We gave him the opportunity to clear all the accusations and all that stuff. Sometimes he plead the fifth.
At times.
Which was a smart thing to do, I guess. But other times, I don't know if he really wanted to change, right? And that was the aspect of it. Give you the information, and it's up to you, because everybody's there for themselves, right? Every company is going to do what they're going to do. There was one person who said that promoters, do shows for their own personal reasons. And I can't think of a more true statement than that. Like, every promoter I know has a reason, and I think you just explained yours.
Correct.
Putting the Bushido code in front, making sure that you use this platform to teach the humbleness, if you will, of martial arts and becoming a great martial artist through this platform. So that in itself is the reason why you're doing shows. But there's also a financial part of it. But here's what I'm fascinated about. What I've seen so far is that promoters are just, I don't want to say blinded, but they have this narrow vision, right? To where they do things and they don't get the results they want, and it's I wonder why, because they're not doing the things they need to do. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this before we go on a commercial break, and I don't know how many bills we got this month, but Jesus Christ, I know we're going to be on a commercial any minute now. There you go. I already signaling me into a damn commercial. But when we get back, we're going to go into the nitty-gritty of the business side of the house, everything from the logo to the name to how you were influenced and what you were influenced, what promotions influenced, because you went out to do media things, right? You went out to other shows and did medias on another show, and I was so damn confused as to what you were doing there. But we'll talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with 305 Fights. You're going to want to listen to this. This is going to be amazing, and don't miss it.
We'll be right back.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mordejon.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mordejon.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
Welcome back, everyone. Putemup Podcast. Check us out on the website, putemuppodcast.com. If you want to be a guest, you can go on there and fill out the form. Check us out on all social media platforms, Instagram,
Spotify,
Facebook, anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon. We're here with 305 Fights. I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of this, man, because I want to get into the business aspect of it, because I want the fans and the people who are listening to understand what it takes to do a show here in Florida. I need you to understand the headaches, the struggles, the business negotiations, so that at the end of the day, some people are saying, well, we don't need to do all that. Just give me a damn fight. I just want to go to a fight. Well, that fight happened because of all the stuff that we're talking about today.
All the behind-the-scenes
So
things.
before we get into the business side of it, guys, I'm gonna hit you with a curveball.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit you with a curveball. I was gonna try to tell you guys this before coming on board, but I wouldn't get the same response. So I follow MMA and I follow everything, and one of the shows that I was with, right, the venue that I was with, the negotiations behind the scenes I was with the Seminole Hard Rock, and let me just say this: you guys going over there is a party. Like it would have been the most amazing thing, but something happened. Some decisions and some things were made up, and even the venue had issues with some of their stuff, and unfortunately they had to move the date. Now, what I give you credit for is that you didn't take that lane down. You didn't say, okay, we probably were going to hit at one of the biggest, hottest spots there is in MMA, but because of that, whatever happened there, You didn't take it laying down. You said, you know what, we're going to regroup, we're going to refocus, we're going to find another venue, and we're going to pull the same show like we always do, and somewhere else. Now, for that, I give you kudos, because other people would have laid down and said, well, we're going to wait. We're going to wait till the red tape finishes and have their discussions and have the tribe and this and that, and we're going to wait. That could have been months from now. Meanwhile, the 305 Fights fan club and your peers are going, hey, what about us? I thought we were going to fight. So kudos goes out to you, looking for the fighter to say, listen, we didn't make this event happen, but for whatever circumstances not beyond your control, but we are going to now move it and make this thing happen. So who's the driving force in making that happen? Like, who goes out there, gets your venue, says, listen, who makes those decisions like, okay, we need to put a show on, our fighters need to fight, these guys are looking for pro status and we need to help them get there? Who within this group or how big is the team that goes out there and says, we need another venue, here it is, let's go get it?
Well, I got to give credit to my partner. She has always the attitude, even as a child. In Colombia, they say avispado, and that means a go-getter.
Okay.
When the tough going gets tough, the tough get going.
Yeah.
But isn't that part of the martial arts to have that? No matter how many times you fall, is how many times you get up.
Absolutely.
So we focused on the positive. The positive is let's get the show going as much as we can in another venue, get it done, learn from this experience, and move on. A point that this podcast is really providing is a lot of information, like you said, behind what's going on. When I opened the first martial arts school, my passion was to teach martial arts, but now you have to open business.
Right.
So you had licensing.
Yes.
I had to take business school and have a statistics-driven school. You talk about statistics all the time. And these are certain things that hit you that I didn't know. I learned. I'm still learning. Yeah. But a lot of people don't know. When a lot of people says, oh, the show was canceled. And it was like, oh, I wanted to cancel. Who wants to cancel a show in an incredible venue? Yeah. Things happen. You have investors.
Absolutely.
You have sponsors. Yeah. You have the venue. You have promoters. Matchmaker.
Yeah.
You have so many things behind the scene that have to come together.
Different elements.
To make it perfect.
Yeah.
And what I've been learning is the more you get educated on those things, so then ahead of time, you can avoid the downfalls and the pitfalls.
Yeah.
You know, ahead of time, get a good sanctioning, a good relationship with the commissions, and what do you need? You know, sometimes we're like when we first started doing shows, we asked the commission, okay, what is the need? And then the commission would give us a list of things that we didn't know, and we would talk to fighters and their managers and coaches, and they didn't know either. And I said, whoa, I think we don't know. We should get to know and have these things ahead of time prepared so everything will go as smooth as possible.
Absolutely.
Does it always go smooth as possible?
Well, we have it up to now 75%, and then you have, I think, what is it, Murphy's Law? Something will go wrong, will happen, go wrong. Right. But I think if you do your statistics and you really run it like a business program, like you said, like a science,
right.
I say you can have a 75% chance of having a success.
Yeah, that's a good ratio.
Yeah, but you got to see little things. I'll give you an example. What makes a successful card? Is it good fighters? What I've learned, being in passion in martial arts, is not really a good fighter. You could have a guy that fights like Bruce Lee, for example, a Moscow guy. If you want to financially successful, it's the guy that brings the most people. So he's got to have social media, advertising, promotion. I talked to a manager in bare knuckle, and I said, hey, I want to get into bare knuckle. What do we, for a fighter to get paid a lot, what does he need? And he told me this. He goes, is he a media influencer? What's his social media presence? And I said, wow, if I could tell this to the fighters, that there's, and you talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
There's all these little things that you talk about that have to be there, put all your ducks in a row for it to make it as successful as possible.
Well, let me stop you there for a second, because you bring up a good point. Now, here's what I think that's missing within the amateur MMA companies, the promotions. Some will tell you, hey, Frank, right off the bat, they'll tell you, Frank, you're wrong with what you're about to say because I got fighters that went to the UFC. Was it really because of you, or was it really because they fought for other people as well and they got a good record and they're good fighters? We don't know. That's up to an argument. But is it up to the promoter? Is it their responsibility to take a fighter that's on your card and build them in a way where their social media is growing, because without your content, without you giving it to the fighter, without you saying, here's your video, here's this and here's that, there's no way they're going to, if they have to look for video on YouTube, if they have to find and search for their records, because we talked about how many shows you had.
Right.
I've looked up 9. That's literally what's on paperwork. You say 13. 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 4 shows out there that's not even nowhere to be found. Now, is that the promoter's responsibility to say, listen, we're running a show, and what makes a successful promoter is not just finding the fighters who are selling the tickets, but it's the organization that is looking after the fighters' records, looking after their fighters' social media. I did Pillow Fighting Championship last week, and I couldn't tell you how many videos are out there. This is Pillow Fighting Championship. Everybody was laughing about it. Oh my God, they're on CNN, CBS, NBC, and all those, the Drew Barrymore show, Good Morning America, and all those fighters who fought on that card now have national exposure. One show. And the reason why they did that was because the promoter said, oh, Good Morning America, you want some content? Well, let me send you their videos of our fights, of these fighters. And then they got interviews with the fighters. So do you think that it's your responsibility to bring up the fighters' social media with your content in which you own?
We feel it is, and that's why we do videos, photo shoots. We do as much as we can for that section. And I actually had a female, which was the wife of a fighter, and she was her manager, say he's not going to do that. He doesn't need that because he's a good fighter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think maybe the amateurs are maybe doing that and they don't even know it yet, because we've been to shows that are pro-am, and when the amateurs are on, it's a full house.
Yeah.
And when the pros come on,
Yeah.
crickets.
Yeah.
So maybe they're doing it without even knowing it, and the fact that he's adding stuff to it, even better.
But to be fair, because I know there's going to be some promoters out there listening and go, not my show. When my pros come on, that's a full house still. So it could
Did I
have
say
been,
that?
it could have been the promoter. It
Did
could
I
have
say
been the
that?
promotion itself. But ladies and gentlemen, guess what we got to do right now?
We are paying some bills. They
We
did
gotta
not
pay some
take
bill,
my
man. Hopefully it's not
IOU.
out of my pocket, because we got to go.
I'm
we gotta
running
check
out
the
of
bank account.
IOUs or ink.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with 305 Fights. We're going to ask some more questions. I'm going to tell you that this is going to be an amazing ending to this conversation, because we're going to go hard. Check us out. Whoop.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Morejon.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Morejon.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
Welcome back, everyone. Putemup Podcast, episode number 9 in the house. Follow us, like us, share us, if you will. Also, go to the website.
9 already?
Yeah, I think it's 9 already.
It is 9.
Is it 9? We're here with 305 Fights, where the champions rise.
Say it in Spanish.
Donde surgen los campeones.
All right.
Sur los campeones. And that's RISE, by the way, just in case.
Not
Yeah.
R-I-Z.
No, you don't want to mention that.
Gotcha,
No.
gotcha,
There's
gotcha.
no affiliation with that
No,
promotion.
okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the business side of the house. We left us with a couple of things, but I just want to say this real quick, and I promise I'll end it. But the business structure, right? You talked about what. Well, let me just say this: in 5 years from now, where do you see 305 Fights? You see yourself doing the same thing over and over again? Do you see yourself going to the pro show? Do you see yourself going into a major network and making?
No, of
making
course.
deals?
I mean, I would think everybody's goal, but
What's
I'll talk
the
about my.
business plan?
But well, that's a good point, and one of the things I've talked to you about that I willing to admit I am still learning and want to learn the business
boy.
plan, because the business plan. When I opened up, I told you when I opened up martial arts school, I had the passion. I had 3 black belts, but all of a sudden now I had to go to martial arts business school.
Yeah.
Learn what is a statistically based martial arts school. What are the things you need? For example, you mentioned something on your website that people don't follow the UFC business plan.
Right.
And you just mentioned something, and she jumped up and screamed and says, "Oh, we got to do that."
Yeah.
So you got to be willing to say, "Okay, I'm open to learn."
Yeah.
And how can I add the business? I don't have to change my identity. I don't have to change what I do.
Yeah.
But I have to add what I need And most of the time, I think for a business is the business plan, and the more successful business plan, the more successful you're going to be.
I agree 100%. But here's what I think. I think that people are living check by check when it comes to MMA. I think the events are done check by check, right? Where you do one event in March, all right, done. It's under wraps. Now let's see how much money we can pull up for the next one, and when we do have that money, we'll do the next show. And there is no a schedule set for all these shows. There is no back planning. There is no waiting to not live check by check, but have a full schedule done, right? You know where your venues are going. You know how many fights you'll have, like 5 events at the end of the year, which is good enough for somebody to stay with you, a fighter to stay with you, be loyal to you, and say, hey, listen, put me on all those 5 fights so I can get my pro status, because you need 5 fights to be a pro. But do you guys have a schedule for the whole year planned out? And if you do so, where can they find it?
Yes, she just did it. She has it. She put it up on her social media. If it's not up on our website, it will be up on our website.
Okay.
I
It's
agree.
not up on your website yet.
It is. Check.
It is.
It is. I one of the things that I agree, and I got to tell you, we have to work on it, and we're going to work on it. Is like any business plan, you have to have a long range goal business plan. And I always tell people, we're in this for the long goal, not the short goal. I agree. Now, I'm not going to talk about what other people do, because they do whatever they do. I agree. There's people that just want to pay their phone, and they're cool.
Yeah.
I didn't do that for this. I did this to build an empire and look at like the UFC is an empire and long term. And for that, you need a long term business plan and all the things that you're saying. The intricacy of this is to get all the parts together. I'll give you an example. The challenges that I've been seeing now in matchmaking. I've been seeing a lot of challenging. The matches have not been ideally matched, and we had in bare knuckle one guy die, a fatality. The commission just stepped in and just canceled another fight. And I thought, well, is it me that the statistics are not there, or they lie about it? They don't want to match people up. We have an association with SFT Combat from Brazil, and he, through 3 fights, offered us a 4-fight contract deal. You can 4 fights for a whole year, paid your fights at a competitive rate, airfare, accommodations, everything. Nobody's going for it.
Wow.
And why? And I asked him, and I thought about it. He says nobody wants to go fight in Brazil because the fights are too hard in Brazil. Now, if you're a martial artist and you're a fighter, but you're a competitor, how do you be the best? By fighting the best. Mm-hmm. How do you become great? By fighting yourself, dominating yourself. So, if you want you cut corners, sooner or later you're going to pay the price. Yeah. But you got to be willing to open and to learn.
Yeah, but part of learning is adapting and changing, right? Because I could sit here all day and say, your logo needs help. Until you go, well, you know what? I'm not changing it. Or you can go, I don't know. It's like kids. For me, logos are like kids. You can't go to somebody's house and say, hey, dress your kid differently. Well, I'm going to dress him the way I want. It's my damn kid. So I know logos are very special, but if somebody said to you right now, if Patrick Regalado came to you and said, because this is interesting, if Patrick Regalado came and said, change that logo that looks like it's not even color separated, it's not even it's just a drawing, it's not even a logo, it's a drawing. If he said change that logo, what would you tell him?
I would say, okay, I sit in both sides of the fence.
One sentence, yes or no?
Excuse
One
me?
answer, yes or no? Would you change it or no? If he told you to do that?
It depends.
It depends. Yes.
Yeah. It depends.
Really?
We
Oh,
have
wow.
Let me throw another person at you.
Wow.
Yeah, it depends.
Okay.
Because this is the thing, my take on that is this.
But let me finish. So what I was going to tell you was, what if Dana White came to you and said, change your logo and I'll give you $4 million?
No,
depends.
it depends. And what did you say? What does it depend on? Okay. My idea for success is you have to change, you have to adapt, you have to learn. If change is what's necessary to become better, you do it. But if it's not necessary, you don't do it. In other words, will changing the logo make it more popular or putting $5 million of advertising and promotion behind you?
Yeah.
So you can tell me it's one or the other. To me, it's not black and white. How about both?
Yeah.
How about listening? If you need to improve the logo, and putting $4 or $5 million. If 3 or 5 Fights right now had $10 million behind advertising and promotion, Would it not be more successful? Of course. With the same logo, the same name. I was talking to Tim. Tim and I have a background in entertainment, music, videos, movies.
Hence how you do shows, right? You got
Correct. Entertainment. We met through entertainment. Also, a person like, let's say, Jennifer Lopez, who Tim Stevens actually danced for and on stage, okay? People think, well, I sing better than Jennifer Lopez, so I'm going to be bigger than Jennifer Lopez. No, but you don't have the team Jennifer Lopez has.
Yeah.
You don't have the hundreds and millions of dollars behind her.
Yeah.
For her work ethic.
Her work ethic. So it's not one thing. It's a combination of things. What I don't like to say is, this works for me, you have to do this. No, it might not work for you. I know people that, for example, when we did martial arts schools, they said, if you have children, you're going to have a successful martial arts school to come and it's financially successful. I know have people that only have adults are very financially successful.
Yeah.
This sounds crazy, but my personal philosophy, whatever you use if you follow the rules of creation of success, okay, you can create it and make it successful. What are the laws of the creation? Success: time, energy, and effort. If you put time, energy, and effort, and of course, financial backing, a good business plan, all those things, they help. But you can't say, if you have only a wrestling school, because wrestling is in fashion right now, it's going to be successful. Well, there's people that have a boxing school. Mayweather's successful, he does boxing. You can be successful at whatever you put your time, energy, and effort. I think as long as you keep an open mind and put all the factors together, it's not just one factor.
And make the adjustments along the way.
Correct.
So, and I love that attitude, because that's a sign of growth, right? That's a sure formula for you to say, listen, we're 3-0 fights today, but tomorrow we could be 3-0 fights
Worldwide.
Yes.
worldwide.
International.
Absolutely. Or 3-0 fights international.
This
So that
empire,
works well.
this empire that you're building, is
Right.
that empire going to stay within the amateur ranks? You plan on
No, that's a
moving
great
into-
question. Listen, we always wanted to do professionals from day one. And in my mind, we do professionals. Because the only difference between the professional and amateurs is that there's more money. In other words, the cost incurred, for example, for amateurs, $50,000. For a professional, it's $200,000. But it's
the thing with the fighters, would sometimes they make even more than we
Yeah,
do.
but it's what she's saying is some fighters that are amateurs.
Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
Because she just told him something.
Yeah, and it was good. The point she was going to make is sometimes our amateur fighters make more money than our professional fighters.
Oh boy.
Well, obviously
boy.
legally.
We just let the worms out of the can? What is it? We just, oh my
cat
God.
out of
So
the
explain
hat.
that, sir.
Okay, and legally, because Mr. Regalado said a point before.
And legally, he says, by the way.
And Mr. Regalado
We're not
said-
doing drug deals here.
He said, yes, he said a point, very important point before. He goes, I feel the amateurs, when there was an amateur show, you have 400 people, and then the professionals come on, everybody leaves. Because amateurs are doing a little bit more promotion or more work or whatever that the pros are not, because just because they're pros, they sit on the word pros.
Yeah.
So the pros is just a word. I've been to amateur shows that have had better fights,
Yes.
have more attendance, have made more money. You know people that the pro shows, how many shows pros actually make money?
None.
Okay, so
I broke even.
yeah. So what are we really talking about? We were supposed to start this year. The year, boom, great venue, pros. Things are out of our hand. We did our job. Other people that were involved rescheduled, canceled the show. It happens. Things happen.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen.
Yeah. But you adjust.
You adjust and you keep going.
Yeah.
If anybody wants a sponsors, if there's any sponsors, any advertisers, or you, we have a show in May. We would love to do it pro. You sponsor us, and we're doing a pro show. Because we will do pro shows. We are going to get into media. We are getting into entertainment. I don't know if you've seen the show Empire
Of course.
on what TV thing is it?
It's BET, I think.
Okay, and you see how he's not only in music, but he's in fashion and whatnot. They asked Tyrone Woodley, that just recently was in boxing and he was in the UFC. You know he raps and he does music.
Yeah.
So they asked him, well, are you a UFC fighter? Are you a boxer now? Are you a rapper? He says, I'm a human being with talent that expresses themselves in different mediums. 50 Cent. If 50 Cent, a rapper, or a media mogul or an empire. The UFC,
Well, I think you'll say he's a rapper first who became, through his rapping, became
the UFC, Dana White, I saw him not too long say, the UFC is not a fight league. The
he says
UFC
himself.
is an entertainment conglomerate.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want to go. We are in the process of going. We want to go into that.
Yeah, but and that's a great statement. And Dana White will say it himself. He's not a fight business; it's an entertainment
He's been
business.
saying that from the beginning.
But you don't see the UFC having girls shaking and moving. You don't see them singing inside the cage.
Well,
You
that's
don't
because
see him do
that's
that.
his concept.
So what's his entertainment?
Right.
When he says entertainment, what is it?
That's his concept. I believe that his entertainment is
The TV
the,
show.
the TV shows he has. He
It's
has like
the
4.
fights that are entertaining. That's the only thing
Yeah.
he shows.
No,
from an
I
entertainment
disagree.
point of
I
view.
disagree. I think
What
he-
else is entertaining
The
about
only
the
reason
UFC?
they go on is to
He
see
has
the fights.
4
He doesn't have singers and dancers. He doesn't have rappers. There's no entertainment in your perspective. There's not that type of entertainment.
No, I disagree.
The entertainment is the fighters pulling up their fights and putting fingers in their faces, and the Conor
100%.
McGregor's is entertaining.
Listen,
Oh, yeah.
Nate Diaz is entertaining.
Listen,
It's
I
the
respect that. I
fighters.
respect that, but I disagree. The UFC has 4 different shows. Looking for a Fighter, the UFC House. He has 4 TV
Yeah.
shows. That's entertainment.
Yeah, but no.
Look,
You're using different shows in order to bring it around, which is smart on their part, right? It's smart on their part. They have the UFC events. They have Dana White looking for a fighter, and they have that. Those are reality TV shows that are entertaining, that tie into the UFC, so they could bring their marketing, so they could bring their emails and the followers back into the UFC. So everything's made for a purpose. It's a genius marketing plan. The more people, more likes, they get the people on that network moved over to their network on ESPN and everything else. So genius plan. But their entertainment in the UFC is their fighters.
you brought up a great point, which is right now very current. Joe Rogan is going through it. We can disagree, but we can agree to disagree and respect and honor each other.
Amen.
And that's, I think, something.
But then there's you're absolutely right. There's agreement and then there's facts. If you tell me the sky is green and we could disagree all day long, I'm gonna tell you the sky is blue. As a matter of fact, my son one day tells me, "Dad, the sky ain't blue, the sky is gray." I said, "Really?" Let me go outside and look. And I looked,
It probably was great.
and it was gray because it was a cloudy day. It's about to
And let-
storm,
and let me
and
tell-
the clouds were gray,
and
right?
let me
Once the stop storms, boom, the storm stops, blue clouds again.
let me tell you something.
You go on an airplane. When you get on an airplane, you go all the way up to 35,000 feet. You look down, is the sky gray or blue? It's blue. Now we can say, well, Frank, it's the sun and the sunlight makes it blue. And the color water, it's not blue. When you lift up water in your hand, is it blue still? No. You go into a pool. It looks like its pool is blue water. You lift it up with your hand. And what?
every
The color goes
conversation,
away.
every conversation I have in my life,
perception.
including this show, I never argue or discuss who's right or wrong.
But come on,
You know
there's
who I,
got to be a right
you,
or wrong.
you know who I discuss? When I have a conversation, I discuss.
let them talk.
But he did disagree
I get
with
to
you.
I get to a higher level of understanding. So every
Yes.
conversation is not I'm right or wrong. I want to get to a higher level of understanding.
But understanding of how this conversation is taking place, or understanding how this person thinks, or because if I tell you the sky is green, and you know it's blue, and we're having a conversation and dialogue going back to the sky is fucking. I can't believe we're having this fucking conversation. But the fact of the matter is that don't tell me you're gonna sit there. Don't tell me you're gonna sit there and go, oh, I'm learning from this conversation because
No,
Frank
you know
says
what
the
I'll
sky
do?
is green.
If it gets into a discussion, what I'm going to do? You're right.
No!
You're
Because
right.
now I'm walking around going, the sky is green, and somebody's gonna be like, you
You're right.
stupid motherfucker.
You're right.
I mean, Elliot told me it was green.
Yeah.
He agreed with me.
You're right. More power to you.
No, that's what I'm
no.
saying. If you're gonna handle business that way, where people come up to you and say, "Hey, your cage should look to the left instead of the right," or your door should open to the left instead of to the right, what are you gonna do? You're right. You're right. But then when they come back and they go, "Hey, Elliot, I just told you that your door should swing to the left and to the right. Why is it still swinging to the left? You just told me I was right. I see your cage still swinging to the right. So what is it? Are you gonna tell me it to tell me the truth, or are you gonna fix it and say, "Oh, you said you were right, so why aren't you fixing it?"
I'm going to fix it, but I'm not going to argue or discuss
How
it.
are you gonna fix something that's wrong? How are you gonna fix? Listen, the door should have opened up out.
Right.
That's it. But because somebody says to you, hey, open the door should open up in, you're going to go, oh, okay, great.
You're 100% correct. You're right.
You shouldn't be agreeing.
Yeah, you're right.
Did he just pull a fast one?
Yes, yes,
He
yes.
You're right. 100% right.
No, but what I'm saying is that what dictates your business, the decision making, at the end of the day, it's you two. You guys are going to figure out the direction in which this company is going and everything else. Now, let me ask you this because everybody's been on this topic. Do you think you're an amateur company that is doing their shows professionally? Are you an amateur professional company?
I am a human being trying to do things better.
Okay. But can you answer my question? Are you an amateur professional
I
company?
did answer a question. You want me to answer the question the way you want me to answer
No,
it?
I want you to answer the question. I want you to answer the question. Are you, simple question, are you an amateur company that does their show professionally?
But
We're-
that's the goal. That's what we strive for. That's
At
what
the end
we
of the
do.
day, that's what you are.
That's your answer.
That's my answer.
My,
I try
answer,
my best.
my answer is we're human beings running a company trying to do it better every day.
Yeah, try to do
What do you
better.
think about the other promotions and what do you think they can do better that you're doing that they're not?
I don't have
Okay,
enough
this is my
information.
my understanding at this point in time. My point in time is you know what? I want to say this. I respect, honestly, all the combat leagues out there. Why? A lot of them started before me. A lot of them I look at till this day and learn from. So I use Bruce Lee's, I'm going to paraphrase Bruce Lee's, because I'm a martial artist, I'm just going to go back to martial arts. Bruce Lee said, absorb what is useful, disregard what is useless, and always retain what is uniquely yours.
Amen.
I think what will help all of us in general in the industry is to communication, education, and bringing back the martial arts. We don't have to agree, but we have to respect each other.
Yeah.
I might not like your show, but I have to honor your show. If you go into a doctor's attorney's office, they will not talk bad about another doctor or attorney. They behind the scenes or whatever, because there's a professional ethic. Because you know what they want to do? They have an objective. The objective here is to grow combat sports. If the objective is to grow combat sports, then let's work towards that, whatever that takes.
Absolutely 100% correct on that. I agree with that. We're going to continue this conversation. We're going to come
We're
right
gonna
back.
go right back.
Talk some more business.
We'll close out the show now.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mortejon.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mortejon.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
Welcome back, everybody. Putemup Podcast, episode number 9. Check us out, man. Anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google. Like us, share us, do whatever you want with us. We're okay with that.
Okay, then.
We're okay with that. We're sitting here with 305 Fights. It's been an amazing conversation, but I can go on forever. I can go on another hour with you guys, man. I wanted to get the journey. I wanted to get for them to understand how the hard work that you guys put into this and the concepts in which you created, because you really created this from scratch.
Yes.
Everything from the name to the logo to the way you do shows.
I would agree and disagree because of people like yourself that we know from the past. Now we're meeting Mr. Regalao, the studio here, from meeting people. We're learning. We continue learning, and we're going to continue learning until we expand and we grow. So I always say you, me, we. It's not just us.
Awesome. But you know what? You haven't been in the news for any shootings, any unethical posts on Facebook. You've been very quiet. Nobody's really can point the finger at you at anything, because I think it's the way you think of martial arts, and the Bushido Code is how you run your business. You run it ethically. You run it to where you're thinking of entertainment for the fans so they can have a great time, but you're also thinking about the fighters. I have yet to hear one argument or discussion about fighters getting treated badly or.
Well, we're
anything
very
like that.
blessed.
So you're learning, and you're learning pretty quick.
We're blessed and highly favored that all the fighters that we've had and actually talked to us, they love us and they become like our family. By the way, we have T-shirts for each of you to thank you for the honor of having us on the show and make you official team members of 305.
We're there, all right.
Champions Rise,
You know
brother.
I'm always-
We're the Champions
I'm always
Rise.
ready
Man,
for
listen,
free stuff.
I wanted to go deeper and deeper. Can we get you on another show? Can we
I
get
would
you
love
guys
to
on
be in the show. And again, I'm here to learn. I've been learning for a long time. from you the business aspect, and as I'm experiencing more, there's so much more of the business that you learn. Khabib said it. Dana White said, "What do you have to say about what Khabib says?" He'll learn, and now Khabib says, "He's right. I'm learning the hard way."
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a meeting with Dana White, ask him some questions, and proceed forward.
Do you know, it's funny you say that because back in, almost 15, 20 years ago, Dana White came to Miami, and it was at the University of Miami. I don't know if you were there.
Yes, I remember.
Oh, my God. And they said, "Hey, Frank, we need everybody in MMA to go see Dana White." And what did I do? I called every single promoter that I know to go see Dana White, University of Miami. And when we sat there, I wish I had that one picture. All the promoters, Florida promoters, went on stage and took a picture with Dana White. That picture would probably been $1 million right about now. But a lot of people took the advantage to give him his resume, give their resumes to Dana. "Hey, I want a job," And it was like, "Hey, raise your hand. All right, come on up." And they literally would give resumes to Dana White. But he educated the people back then, and we're talking 15, 20 years ago, I guess, when this thing happened, 2009 or something. And he educated the fans on what they can and cannot do. But you know what? I've always said that MMA is a rich man's sport. MMA is a rich man's sport. And the reason why I say that is because Dana White, when he first started, he did it for 1 year without no TV, without none of that stuff, and he lost. He spent $1 million doing his promotion, doing his marketing and everything else, and he failed. He had to go back to the Faitosa brothers and say, "I need another $1 million." He did that for 10 years. $10 million later, they said, "Guys, we can't be doing this anymore. I mean, I love your passion and everything, but something went." So when I say that MMA by itself never makes any money, Dana White has proven it to us for 10 years. When did that change? When MMA met TV. When MMA meant reality TV, when the Ultimate Fighter show was in everybody's house and everybody was watching that reality show. That
Spike
changed
TV.
the game. Spike TV. So if you look at that formula, and you know that MMA never makes any money, what happens is when people do shows, and we know that because you have no TV, which is already fact that you're not making any money, you're probably breaking even, but the fact is nobody's making money until you get a TV deal, right? Because if you don't, what's going to happen is that somebody in that team has to have a real job, right? Somebody has to have a real job, and that real job has to pay for this MMA stuff. And what you want to be, I'm hoping, is so successful that it carries itself. So the UFC didn't carry itself for 10 years. They had to rely on the Faitosa brothers' casino money in order to support the UFC. And that's why I say it's a rich man's sport, because if it wasn't for the Faitosa brothers putting up the $1 million, there would be no sport of MMA. Forget about Dana White. There would be no sport of MMA. Now, the Gracies, who created the UFC, they went on a different path. But their goal was to say, I don't really care about the sport. Matter of fact, we're not even thinking about making this a sport. My number one goal is to promote my school, to let Gracie Jiu-Jitsu be known around the world, and we're using this platform to use it. So their ROO, which is the return on their objective, was to say, hey, promote it. But you guys are not promoting your school. You guys are promoting maybe the art of martial arts and the way you carry yourselves and how you conduct business. But at the end of the day, it's been proven if you don't have TV, you're not going to be at the big leagues, or you're not going to make this as bigger than what it can be. So what is your answer to, I get you doing shows, I get you doing this, but what do you have in plan to bring it to another platform in which the people around the world can see it? Like Titan FC has UFC Fight Pass.
Right.
Even XFN, I believe, has Flow Combat. There's some type of pay-per-view.
Yes.
So talk to me about your business with the pay-per-view in order to tie it into
100%. We have that in place, and we've had that in place.
What do you have in place?
What you're talking about.
Specifics.
First of all, okay, specifically, our logo, right now this shirt doesn't have it. She took it off this t-shirt, and I said, please put it back on. From day one, the logo says 305fights.tv.
Correct.
Right.
And our website is .tv.
Right.
Because it's 100% what you said. Now, we were in a TV, movie, media studio. We had a digital channel. We had Sirius XM radio. We had one show that were going this way. The studio went bankrupt. So then that one show, our long-term goal is exactly what you said. The reason I put TV on there, 305 TV, and if you look, it's always 305 TV, even the website, is to go into media, to make it a syndicated TV show. Tim Stevens, he's working on us right now, a reality documentary. And we're actually on YouTube and in our website, in our website, we have a digital channel and we have episodes. This is actually going to be part of an episode.
All right.
To create episodes. So, like, they have, I think VH1 has Miami Crew Cartel. What's another?
Yeah, Crew Cartel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, VH1 one day will have Thrill Fights TV.
Nice. So that is in
Frank,
the plan.
Let me ask you a question then.
That wasn't in the plan.
So since TV is so important to the success of any promotion company,
Yeah.
is that why we're seeing more and more streaming and pay-per-views on these independent promotional companies?
Well, I'm glad you said that because you, I think, was the one who pointed out a few episodes ago that you said things have changed. The platform has changed. Instead of now them going to a network like Dana White did and had to fight for those networks, they can now basically make their own app, like bare knuckle fighting,
Right.
and now all the pay-per-view goes on that app, and now they have that. So that's maybe another form of another platform to make it
Right,
happen.
right.
But I think now the technology today, you got Roku, you got Apple, you got pay-per-views, you got Fight TV, which may go good with 305 Fights TV, right?
Sounds good.
So maybe put yourselves on Fight TV, and I think I got the hookup for you in case you need that. But I think nowadays, to answer
Right.
your question, if you're not invested in the pay-per-view buys, but then what does that mean? You cannot promote a show based on pay-per-view buys the same way you do if you want ticket sales for people to come in and sit down and watch your show. Those are two different type of marketing strategies, right? It's totally different.
Right.
So one, you'd have to make up your mind and figure out what's the format of your finances in regards to how you want to, lay that out, right? But to your point, pay-per-view is important. Streaming is important. No longer do you need those networks. You
Right.
can create your own on Roku, on Spotify, on Apple. You can create your own network. But again, it's the marketing dollars that you put into it and make it happen. But to your point also, it's so much more than that. If you have the TV, if you have the pay-per-views, well then shoot, okay, I'm tuned in. Now what am I looking at? Like what talent are you giving? What entertainment are you giving me?
So now it really is based, now that they have all these streaming devices and a lot of ways to put your show out there,
Yeah.
now you really have to have a good show on.
Yeah, now it's about content. It's about
Yes,
content.
good content.
It's
Yes.
about having those fighters fight and that are good. Now, what's fascinating to me is if I asked you how many fighters have been to the UFC from your shows?
I do not know.
Is that a problem?
I
That-
sh-
that you're not tracking your fighters' success, right? Tracking your fighters' success. How many fighters, and this is all data because I'm a data guy, a
Right,
statistics guy. How many fighters, because I can look this up myself. Matter of fact, I probably will give you those answers when I finish.
And I would appreciate it.
I'll tell you exactly where everybody.
Hey, you're right, okay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. All right, fine. But I think that's important because now it's like the sanctioning body. It's like sanctioning body. You've got 9 shows documented, but you say you have 13.
Well, you know what happens there? There's a good
Find me those
let
other 4.
But let me tell you something. What happens there? You might do your job, but doesn't mean other people are doing their job.
Right.
When we've reported our information to other parties,
Right.
they don't post it.
Right.
So that's why I said it's not one person. It is a team, and it's different. What has to happen in any industry, and I think in Miami, is all these parts have to come and work together.
Absolutely.
If I give you the numbers,
Yeah.
and you don't put them up on the site, and people don't see them,
Yeah.
it wasn't my fault.
Yeah. But guess what? I'm not taking that as an answer, and I'll tell you why. And we'll wrap this up, I promise, because I know the bills are coming. I won't take that as an answer because you're the one who hired him. You're the one.
No, but it's an agency that aside from you.
Right. No. Listen to this. We all know that when you do a show and you do your records, you send that over to the sanctioning body is the one who is the record keeper. Not even you. It's the sanctioning body that you hired in order to make sure your show is run safely, and that puts the record. This guy won, this guy lost, and then the sanctioning body takes it to the Florida Boxing Commission. And that's where the third party comes in. Well, they're going to take their sweet ass time to make sure that those records go on there. But that to me is a cop out, because here's what I would do if I were you. If my results aren't on Tapology at least within a week, you're no longer sanctioning for me. Point blank, period.
Right.
Why? Because you're not doing the job in which I pay you for.
No,
And
what-
what I
what-
tell you
Where is
pay
the
you
other
for.
company? Where is the other company that they report to? Because when I asked, did you report to Topology? Because I had to send it personally to the topology guy.
Yeah.
They say, no, we report to this.
To the Florida Boxing Commission. Right. They send it to the Florida Boxing Commission. Florida Boxing Commission.
And then
processes it.
what happens?
And-
I'll give you
and then-
another
you're
example.
right. They can sit
I'll
on
give
it.
you an example
But
when
that's
there's,
not an excuse.
I'll give you an example of third and fourth parties. And you're right. There's never an excuse. There's never a justification of limitation. There's always a research of possibilities that make it better.
Ooh, I like that. Can I
Okay.
write that down or is that too long?
Okay. Now-
have to rewind
but
on
I'm going to give you an example. Is we've had fighters that said, okay, I'm a debut.
Yeah.
Find me a fight.
Yeah.
Great. We call another guy. Great, I'm a debut. We're going to fight. Then somebody says, hey, that person's not a debut. Well, we went on Topology's places.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a record.
Yeah.
But in Russia, he's national champion and he has 200 fights.
Yeah.
So in other words, there's third and fourth parties, and you don't know if that person does their job.
Absolutely.
If they're ethical, moral, or they're doing it
Right.
correctly. So that's why I said everybody has to come together
Yeah. But you know why they're not, right?
for the objective of making it better.
Yeah. But do you know why they're not? Because it's called amateur. You won't find that in the pro shows.
Oh,
You won't
did.
find that in
We
the
have.
pro.
We have.
You won't find the fact that you can't find their record as a pro.
We have.
You can't.
We have.
Or maybe
You
a
have to.
different- a different
You
one.
have to.
Yeah.
Now
a
if
different
it-
record. A different.
Yeah, a different name or something, or the guy's
Oh yeah,
name.
that's another thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me
different
just.
name.
Let me another thing is mine. For example, my name is Elio Enrique Tarrago,
Yeah,
and I'm national champion in Russia
yeah,
of mixed martial arts. I have 200 fights. I come and fight in the U.S. Elio Enrique.
that's
That's
right.
it.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
So
Zero.
what I'm saying is, there's a lot of factors.
yeah.
Involved.
But,
I,
oh my
I think
God.
the main thing is that we learn from our
But
mistakes.
there's a
and
thing
we
called
become
an
better.
MMA ID. There's a thing called an MMID number. If people are going by names in which some of these people are, and that's their fault, and that's why I wouldn't hire that sanctioning body anymore, you have to go by numbers. Anybody, there could be 3 Elio Tarragos.
Right.
It could be 10.
Yeah,
but
that's
which
what
is the
I'm
one that's MMA? It goes based on the number in which I will put there. So I get it, but I'm just letting you know, if I was a promoter and I'm not seeing my results, I don't care what the excuse is, because Tapology, like I said, you can go to, she did it herself. She went to Tapology and put it in and found the guy and, hey, put this on there, and it goes on there. There's 4 fights. And from my perspective, when I see that, and if I was a coach at a trainer, I'd be like, no, we're not fighting for 3 or 5 fights. Why? Yeah, because I fought from 4 times already, and none of them are on my list. None of them on record. I don't know what they're doing. And then for you not to go back and go, your show doesn't finish until those stats are on the website. That would be me. My show is not done until those stats are on the website. Then I can move on to the next one. Because that's what I paid for, first of all. And 2, that puts me in the books that I'm officially done. Because if not, then, well, what the hell happened? Where are your stuff? So there's a lot of stuff, and I agree with you 100%. There's a lot of entities that need to come together in order to make it successful. But you run the ship, you run your boat, you tell who you want, who you don't want, what sanctioning body is. Now, nobody's perfect. I get that 100%, and we're striving to be perfect. And the reason why there's so much more fans in the amateur than they are in pro is because this state has now dictated that the numbers are greater in the amateur shows. We do over 60 shows in the amateurs while we're only doing 20 in the pros. So that just tells you that the fan base is growing. You got more shows and more fans. Less events and less fans. So I see the shift already that there's more amateurs. So the company like yourself who's willing to do 5 shows, who's willing to put the time, the investment, the effort, and putting this together because of your passion and because of your love for the sport, you're literally giving your souls out to these people, and at the same time, I guess you're getting received the love back because you have fighters on your show, you have people who invested their time and their training, and some of the coaches and some of the gyms that you personally been out to, and make sure that they have that platform to advertise their gyms. I've seen it. I've seen how you go out there and work. Sometimes it's confusing to me while you're in some Titan FC show doing 305 fights, but that's neither here or there. That's just you doing your thing, being you.
And the most important thing is that the martial arts in combat sports and entertainment and what we do, anything that has to do with it, has impacted lives and is changing lives.
Yeah.
Martial arts has been documented in China for over 5,000 years. Documented. So it could be even older.
Yeah.
So martial arts is going to be around when we're gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Impacting people, making people life, health, and success.
Amen.
I did look into that topology thing, which I thought it was great that he contacted me personally and said, why I don't have this. So I did the research and sent it to him. I got an answer, and he's doing it. I'm gonna make sure that gets fixed. You have too many debuts, so then I have to do one at a time. So
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time.
Well, you know, it's also, I'll give you 2 cents. If you walk away with some real great stuff, because I know we got to wrap this up. 2 cents right here, worth $1 million. When you send Tapology that, see if there's sometimes you do a pro and amateur card and things like that. Label it as amateur and label it as pro, because literally the guy from Tapology has to figure it out. Sometimes he's like, well, nobody told me this was pro, and nobody told me. So he literally has to do his research and everything, which takes a lot of time. So on that sheet, which I don't think there's a column for, but if you were to say if you had a grappling event, you had a kickboxing event, an MMA, write down kickboxing and grappling, because he's going to think that it's something else. But listen, we're going to wrap this whole thing up.
And just to set the record straight,
Yep.
Tapology does have them down for 12 events.
What?
So it's fine.
What?
12 events.
What?
I did it.
Man,
I did it.
She did it right
Again,
on the
I want to
spot.
thank you, Mr. Morejon,
Oh,
Mr.
no, listen,
Regalado.
thank you guys.
My
Listen,
pleasure.
Thank
and
you guys.
I really want to thank you. Mr. Morejon has been doing a lot of great things.
Ah.
He's been wanting to do this podcast and
Yeah.
this professional media for a long time, and you're involved. And now I know he's been able to do it because of you and your involvement.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a
And
big help.
I hope more people work together and make it better for everybody.
Well, listen,
so much.
make no mistake. The person who needs the congratulations is you, my friend.
Absolutely.
Congratulations for a successful show. Thank you. Thank you for putting all the time and the effort and the blood and sweat and tears and making this happen. I remember when you started it. I remember the first show, and you've been consistent, and you've been a true martial artist when it comes to putting these shows on. So for that, we thank you. Thank you for
We're learning and trying to get
yeah,
better.
but thank you for putting these kids who have a dream,
Yes.
want to become the UFC guys. They come to you for that dream. They come for you to get that experience in order to get their dream closer, right? So thank you for what you do. Thank you for everything you do within the sport.
We've had a lot of promoters here, and we get a lot of different perspectives, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
never
you know
gotten
what?
your perspective.
Yeah,
absolutely,
and that's why I
100%,
want you guys back, because we can go deep. Because
Yeah,
I was going to talk
absolutely.
about the transactions that happen behind the scenes, but we'll save that for another day. And I was going to ask you the question of what if Natural Motion Systems was in the UFC? How good would they have been?
Oh.
How good what would be the outcome if NMS was in the UFC?
It would be incredible. I'll tell you why. Who's the American founding father of mixed martial arts?
Ooh, that's a great question. Who's responsible for MMA? Bruce Lee?
There you go.
All right.
Absorb what is useful, disregard what is useless, and retain what is yours. Bruce Lee, a Chinese martial artist, which he went beyond the labels of Chinese martial arts and called it Jun Fan Ji Kun Do. Jun Fan, by the way, is his Chinese name. So he said Bruce Lee's way. So,
Wow. Jeet
Jeet Kune Do.
yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it straight from here. If you didn't know any Bruce Lee lessons, there you go. You had one right there. Thank you guys for showing up. Any Instagram, promote your Instagram,
Yes.
website. Talk to me.
Fights.tv,
Everything is 305 Fights TV.
TV, and all the digital platforms. February 26th is our next show. You guys, all the promoters, everybody that's involved, the combat leagues, if you invite us to your league, we would love to cover your league just to promote everybody. Like I said, I think if we come together and we're willing to learn from each other's, and if I made a mistake, we made a mistake, hey, we mistake, like the Marines say, adapt and overcome,
There you
we
go.
can overcome.
Amen.
Got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you got it. You heard it first. Thank you guys again for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you very,
On
very
behalf
much.
of Elion Ewatarago, Mr. Patrick Regalado, thank you guys for tuning in. Check us out on our next episode. Check out 305fights.tv. If you're a fighter, sign up on the website. If you're a fan, buy a ticket. Go check them out. You won't be sorry.
Donde surgen los campeones.
Somos los campeones.
I'll see you all.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Morejon.
I don't understand what's going on here.